Today is the seventh day of ER in the year 5780, corresponding to May 1st, 2020. Psalm 39 is traditionally read this day. A Song of David. I said I will guard my mouth as with a muzzle, while the wicked are still before me. I made myself dumb in silence. I was silent through my pain. My heart is hot within me. In my thoughts a fire burns. I spoke aloud, O Lord, let me know my end and the measure of my days. I want to know when I will cease. Behold, you made my days as handbreadths, and my old age is as nothing before you. Surely vanity is in every person. This is our condition forever. We walk in darkness. All that we stir is but vanity. We gather, but know not who will bring the harvest home. And now, what have I hoped, O Lord? My hope to you is, save me from all my transgressions. Do not make of me a reproach of wicked men. I have become mute. I will not open my mouth, because you have done this to me. Remove your affliction from me. From fear of you I perish. With rebukes for iniquity you have chastened me. You have caused my flesh to decay as by a moth. Surely all man is vanity forever. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and hearken to my cry. Be not silent to my tears, for I am a stranger to you, as were all my forefathers. Turn away from me that I may recover, before I go and am here no more. Well, this psalm speaks of suffering and pain so severe, the psalmist had to forcibly muzzle his mouth to restrain himself from questioning God's justice. In desperation, he begs God to tell him when it will all be over. He says, "O God, inform me of my end. What is the measure of my days?" And our sages wondered why the question was phrased in two different ways. Why did the psalmist say, "Inform me of my end," and then ask, "What is the measure of my days?" Is there a difference between knowing one's end and knowing the measure of one's days? Our sages thought there was a difference. They thought there were two ways of understanding one's life. They thought wanting to know one's end meant wanting to know the length of our physical existence. How many years, months, weeks did we live? And our sages thought that was one way of understanding life. But they thought there was also a second way. Asking what is the measure of my days refers not to the length of our lives, but to the quality of our lives, the purpose of our lives. Asking to know the measure of our days is asking to know the meaning of our lives. God refuses to answer either of these questions, but for different reasons. We are not permitted to know the length of our physical lives, for it was thought that those inclined to doing evil would feel free to use their allotted years to do wicked and immoral acts, secure in the knowledge they could not be punished with death until they had reached the end of their allotted years. Now we are not permitted to know the measure of our days, the moral meaning of our lives, for if we did, we would only do good. No longer would we be free to make the choices by which the moral meaning of our lives would be measured. We are not permitted to know the answers to either question as a safeguard against excessive evil or excessive piety. Just as knowing the length of our lives could lead immoral people to acts of evil, so too could knowing the moral measure of our lives lead the spiritually sensitive to a life lacking anything outside the narrow realm of their spiritual goals. how God refuses to answer either of the psalmist's questions to ensure there be balance in life and freedom to choose how we will live our lives. Would you want the answers to the questions posed by the psalmist? A question put to us by Psalm 39, a psalm for today.